Week 2 is upon us in the NFL, and today we're going to talk about which teams are already facing the pressure, as well as some matchups for the week and some players to watch out for.
We're officially in week 2 of the NFL season. Some teams are already facing the pressure. We're not going to talk about the Thursday Night Football game because by the time this comes out, Thursday Night Football is already completed. But let's get right into the first team we have to talk about because they did lose on Monday night. It is the New York Jets.
The New York Jets. First of all, I would like to congratulate Jets fans. Aaron Rodgers made it through a game, so that's probably the best news you could receive at 40 years old. There were glimpses, right? There was that 180-yard drive, I believe, that touchdown, I think Breece Hall rushing touchdown, and obviously the classic Aaron Rodgers free play touchdown to Allen Lazard. But overall, it wasn't a great performance by the Jets. If you're looking at it grand schemes of things, they did get pretty dominated by the 49ers. And don't get me wrong, the 49ers, even without McCaffrey, are a solid team. But when you're the Jets, this team is looking for a Super Bowl. 49ers are a Super Bowl contending team, and they did not look good against a Super Bowl contending team, which kind of concerns me. And on top of that, everyone in the AFC East starting off at 1-0, depending on the Bills-Dolphins game, which we don't know about. But even the Patriots, which is this is most surprising. So they're already behind the 8 ball. So I think because of that, they have more pressure to beat this Tennessee Titans team in week 2 and try to get things going from here on out.
Yeah, so first off, let's talk the Jets specifically here. Aaron Rodgers, like you said, 40-year-old, we get all that, coming off an Achilles injury. That's the issue, though. He didn't, was it during OTAs where he went to Egypt or something? He skipped some bits, right? I don't know if it was training camp or mini camp or whatever. How many ever camps they do throughout the offseason there. He missed something, which I think was obviously a bad decision because a guy who's coming off an injury after playing, 2, 3, 4 snaps at the most.
4, I believe.
Yeah.
3.
So you would need someone there, to build the chemistry with a little bit more. I believe he'll figure that out eventually with more over time. I believe he did not even play in the preseason as well. I don't fully remember. I don't pay attention to NFL preseason like that, though. That's the issue. But you're right? Because the division is in terms of like top heaviness, it is tougher than the AFC North in terms of 3 out of the 4 teams are most likely playoff teams. Obviously, that's an anomaly from the Patriots, but if they do somehow become good, it'll bypass the AFC North as the toughest division for sure. So because of that, with the Bills and Dolphins, like I said, we're not obviously not going to even talk about that much when this comes out. But when we're recording this, it is the issue with that one. They're gonna beat each other up. So I doubt a tie will happen, but most likely one team is gonna win. And if you go down 0-2, and let's just say the Patriots somehow upset the Seahawks as well, yes, you're gonna be behind it. And not only that, you also got to worry about the Bengals. You got to worry about the Ravens. You got to worry about the Texans, Colts,
other wildcard teams.
Right. Even the Chargers on the come up.
AFC is tough, right? You can't start 0-2. And to wrap things up here, the one person that's facing a little bit more pressure and who needs this win more is Robert Saleh.
Yeah.
Right. And because he has everything he needs now. There's no excuse for Saleh anymore. Obviously, last year it became Zach Wilson and whoever else played that quarterback position. You have your guy. You have everyone on the offense. Your defense needs to play better. That's what you run. So a little bit pressure is on Robert Saleh, and he could be on the hot seat if they blow this one.
Yeah, because like at the end of the day, we'll be coming here. We'll be talking in. I can't talk right now. We'll be talking about this in January or February that, Bill Belichick might be the new Jets head coach, and then the new defensive coordinator of the Indianapolis Colts might be Robert Saleh. And obviously I'm saying that as a fan because who does not like Gus Bradley here, but that's obviously bias aside. Yeah, Robert Saleh needs to figure out his decision-making as a head coach and figure out that defense. But let's talk about another team who we talked about in our week 1 overreactions. If you guys haven't checked that video out, it will be popping up at the end of this video here, and hit that subscribe button while you're at it. The Cincinnati Bengals.
The Cincinnati Bengals starting off 0-1, which is to no one's surprise because they absolutely suck in September. And this year is a little bit more concerning for me because Joe Burrow finally had a healthy preseason, healthy training camp, right? But that got offset with Jamar Chase's contract drama during the training camp and offseason period. But the big concern for me and why I believe that this one is they're playing with fire and this one might burn is because this AFC North is probably the toughest division. And it has been the toughest division for a while now. But I feel like this year, everyone's at their peak right now, in my opinion. And with the Steelers coming off a win, and with the Ravens coming off a loss, they'll be hungry for a win. The Bengals starting off 0-2 is gonna be concerning. And honestly, I think they are gonna start 0-2 because they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs. But they need this win really bad.
Here's the thing. For whatever reason, they do well in the regular season against the guys like the Chiefs, the Bills, and so on and so forth, right? Which is obviously a good thing, but you also got to win the games you're supposed to win, which is the Patriots, right? And I said this in that overreaction video. I say this now. You cannot keep doing this every time because Joe Burrow will eventually face injury, if not this year, the next year, which is exactly what happened before the year they made the Super Bowl, I believe. Or around that time. And then the second thing is the Jamar Chase drama is there, but you also gotta bypass that aside if you're Jamar Chase and the front office at the end of the day, because like we said for the Jets, the Bengals are got one of those teams in the mix, and obviously injury aside, they could be a team that could miss out because they're fooling around in September way too much. And
they have something to prove, right? The Bengals. Obviously, 2 years ago, were a really good team, made it to the AFC Championship game, right? Last year, they're trying to convince us that's a blip. But right now, obviously, after that first game, it just felt like it's not a blip right now. But they are also a team. Burrow always picks it up, after the first 3 games in the season, and the Bengals do usually as well, and they go on their massive run. But the concerning part this year, in my opinion, is because I believe you're going to start 0-2, right? Even though you need this win really bad. I think you're losing to the Ravens twice. I think the Steelers beat you once. I think the Browns beat you once, right? This division is just really, really tough. And the fact that you're going to be down 0-2, in my opinion, and you still have to face 6 division games, it's just a tough place to be right now. And I think this one's going to be a bigger hole to dig out of,
and listen,
in my opinion.
We said it in season preview, and I said it again last time. Zach Taylor's job is on the line here, like Robert Saleh. And then on top of that, listen, you can't be holding the NFL fans need to keep a standard the same for everybody. You can't be holding on to the head about them making one Super Bowl, because ever since then they made a conference championship game and then they have teetered down since, right? Expectations is to win a Super Bowl. Unfortunately, you didn't win that year, and now you have to you can't be saying, oh yeah, Joe Burrow's elite. He is an elite quarterback. What I'm saying is you can all the stuff that Lamar gets, that he's this. You got to be eventually saying that about Joe Burrow, because Josh Allen has proven it time and again. He'll get to the playoffs, and he won't be the reason why they lose eventually to the Kansas City Chiefs. But yeah, so if you want to be still part of that echelon of the top 5 quarterback, a top 5 team in the NFL, you got to bounce back this year and obviously handle your business.
You also got to look at the thing that because you made a Super Bowl, right? The standard we hold Lamar to is win a Super Bowl. The standard we hold the 49ers is they have to win a Super Bowl. Same with Josh Allen. That's the standard the Bengals are at now.
Yeah.
Right? And we can't look anything below that. Their standard is Super Bowl. And because they already made it there, that's what we expect of them now.
So, speaking of the Bengals, let's talk about our, game of the weeks here, or the biggest game of the week. Obviously, the Thursday Night Football game. This is Wednesday night. We can't be talking about that now. But that's by far would have been our game of the week, if anything. But this Chiefs-Bengals game is easily tied with that. And, let's talk about it. The Chiefs finally win a Week 1 game after since 3 years ago, because they lost to the Lions last year, and then they lost to the Ravens the year before. They finally beat the.
They did?
Yeah, I believe they lost the last.
That was Week 2, I believe.
Week 1. I'll double check.
I don't think they're on a Week 1 bad streak. I think it was just last year.
Either if they were, they got through it. But
I don't think they were.
Okay, but I thought they lost to the Ravens.
That was Week 2.
Oh, okay, so maybe I mixed up the two then. But anyways. They're going to obviously, handle business. I said Patrick Mahomes is MVP for a reason, because I feel like they want to show that last year's regular season was a blip, and they're a better team. I don't know the status of Hollywood Brown at the moment, if he's going to play. If I'm dumb, you're 1-0, just rest one more week. It's clearly Xavier Worthy's a decent replacement there anyways. I expect Juju Smith-Schuster to get going a little bit more. And obviously you're pissed about this because he ruined your fantasy. I expect Travis Kelce to step up. And on the flip side, the Bengals, we already said everything here. We need to repeat it. They, find a way to win this game to be 1-1.
Yeah, the Chiefs, in my opinion, did not look perfect in Week 1 at all.
Yeah.
But they still they still managed to get points, which is good. I think what was the score again? Do you remember? It was 27 something.
27-20, I want to say.
Yeah, something like that. I think Ravens obviously need a touchdown. But they still found a way to get points. A lot of that being with Xavier Worthy. But this Ravens defense did a decent enough job to keep the Chiefs at bay once again, except for one blown coverage, which led to the passing touchdown for Mahomes. But overall, Mahomes did not look that great, right? Obviously they had their moments, like the clutch moments that the Chiefs usually have. But I think there's obviously another level that the Chiefs are going to reach to. I think they will find that. And on the other flip side, the Bengals, they just really suck in September, and that's just really been hurting them right now. So that's the reason why I think the Chiefs will go 2-0. Also, it's in Arrowhead. But the thing is that Burrow somehow finds a way, like you said, to play good against the good teams, and Mahomes is one of them because I think the record's like 1-3, I believe.
I saw a positive record. I guess that was combined with the Bills during the regular season specifically.
I'm talking about Burrow versus Mahomes.
So Mahomes is 1-3. Yeah. Okay, I thought you were saying the other way. No,
the only one was that AFC Championship game.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's gonna be a fun one to keep an eye out on Sunday. And another one that we in our opinion that we think is a good game to watch is I think the Monday nighter. Is the Atlanta Falcons and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Atlanta Falcons, should have won the Steelers game that they struggled. Kirk Cousins, again, similar to Aaron Rodgers, coming off that torn Achilles as well. Not 40, but close to 40. Needs to get going. Obviously, a new team. Aaron Rodgers wasn't a new team, but he still needed to obviously 4 snaps isn't enough to build chemistry in a regular season game. And yeah, so we have high hopes for the Atlanta Falcons. We deem them as the dark horse team of the year to keep an eye out for. And so they need to find a way to honestly, the Eagles did not look great, that great in the first week as well. Jalen Hurts kind of struggled, and the thing is that was in Brazil. I'll check who the home team in this is because obviously the Falcons home didn't even matter for the Steelers as well. So I think either way, this is the battle of 2 division winners that are going at it and a potential playoff matchup. Hopefully, it's a good game.
So with the Falcons, you got to need some players to step up, right? Kyle Pitts got his touchdown. But Drake London is one I'm looking at, and he hasn't been great, right, ever since he's been drafted. And he's supposed to be one of those wide receivers that, first round pick, I think around middle round, 12th or somewhere around ranges was Drake London. And
he was 8th, I want to say.
He was up there?
He was the first wide receiver off the board.
Yeah, the type of thing. Yeah, it's he was the number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah.
Right? And he hasn't been anything close to that. So he's going to have to start picking it up. And there's no excuse because you have a guy that should be able to get you the ball. In terms of Kirk, I think he'll be fine. Obviously, it's going to take a couple of weeks for him to adjust again, not playing for that long and also coming off a big injury. And you just got to hope the line holds up. The Steelers defense is really good, especially when you have TJ Watt just absolutely wrecking havoc.
Yeah, best defender in the NFL now that Aaron Rodgers has retired.
Aaron Donald has retired. So yeah, so you don't have to deal with a TJ Watt, but you still have to deal with a decent, a solid defense in the Eagles. So this will be another test for the Falcons. I don't know how they're gonna get the job done here again, but overall, I think their schedule will be easy enough, and it's good that they're gonna get these tough games out of the way because they'll get these tests early, and I think in a couple of weeks they'll find their groove, but I just don't think they'll find it right now.
So the next matchup is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Detroit Lions, and the reason why we chose this game is what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did in Week 1. Yes, slight overreaction because it was against the Washington Commanders, but the reason why we're saying this is not the team as a whole. It was more on Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, there's also another element to this. The Lions and Bucs are another playoff rematch as well. The Lions faced the Rams, and now the Buccaneers are 2 teams they faced in the playoffs up until when they lost to the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. This is a divisional round rematch, and Baker Mayfield looked absolutely incredible. A guy who usually has a 1 year good, 1 year bad type of career so far. He's looking to be consistent and put 2 consecutive years together and be actually that starting quarterback that we believe that he should have been when he got drafted number 1 overall back then. And he looked incredible. Obviously, when you have Mike Evans, that's a huge help as well. And the continuity factor, which I believe played a big part in this because they essentially brought back their team. And Baker Mayfield, without Dave Canales,
that was the big factor. That
was a big factor. Yeah. Put together a solid performance. And if we're getting this Tampa Bay team might overtake the Falcons for me.
Yeah, no, because it's early still. Obviously, overreaction. But on Detroit side, I'll take over on Detroit here. They kind of were on up and down against the Rams, obviously, because Matt Stafford with an injured O-line injured himself. Puka Nakua injured. Matt Stafford still ended up leading a drive to take the lead eventually with the
Goff interception.
Yeah, with the Goff interception. But sorry, Cooper Kupp once again showing that he's arguably the best wide receiver in the game, or putting himself back in the conversation when he's healthy, especially. But they ended up, which we'll talk about a little bit about when we come to our players or aspects to watch in a second here. They ran the ball heavy down the throats of the Rams and ended up winning that game. So they still need to improve a little bit because, listen, the NFC North just became a lot easier with the Jordan Love injury. And there's no other team really in there that...
And with Caleb Williams struggling in week 1 as well.
Exactly. So this is going to be a fun game to watch because of that quarterback matchup and that team matchup in general, because these are two under-the-radar teams. Well, Detroit now went above the radar. No pun intended. But that Tampa Bay is, we all written them off. Not written them off. We're writing them off slowly with the Falcons' rise. But like you said, they're showing that there could potentially be a team they could be the NFC South winner once again.
Yeah, for sure. As long as Baker performs, they should have a chance. And obviously now with the revenge element in this game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be looking to cook. And on the flip side, the Lions, the reason why they won that game is they went back to their identity, right? They are going to be a run-heavy team. They're going to rely on that O-line, their best group in the NFL, the best group in their team.
For sure.
And with Amon-Ra being a non-factor in that game, that line became more and more needed, and Jameson Williams had to put a good performance up, rushing and receiving.
David Montgomery and
Jahmyr Gibbs were the ones able to finish off the game. And as long as Goff doesn't throw another pick like that, and they should be fine. And I think that pick that Goff threw was obviously trying to get Amon-Ra to get going, and he's the one who lost the battle. It's not necessarily like a bad throw, but it was like a forced throw.
Yeah. Well, let's move on. Let's go end off with some quick fire type things here, superlatives. Let's start off with the upset alert. Talked about it earlier. I'm not going to go too much into it, but Falcons, Eagles are on upset alert. Again, Jalen Hurts kind of struggled I want to say struggle, but wasn't the greatest. Yes, it was week 1. Yes, it was in Brazil, a stadium you've never played in. Everybody was slipping and sliding everywhere, but I'm putting on an upset alert if Jalen Hurts struggles. And I expect the Falcons to bounce back a little bit. Hopefully, Kirk Cousins learns and then knows how to use his new weapons there as well. Obviously, Saquon carried that week. I expect him to do the same thing. But for me, yeah, Eagles are on upset alert.
The reason why I'm not picking the Falcons is because Monday night Kirk Cousins.
Fair. I forgot about that part.
He did win once. I think it was last year. Finally broke the curse. But the team I'm picking is the Tennessee Titans over the New York Jets. And as a Colts fan, this actually does pay me to say this because I would never really pick the Titans. But I'm going to give you a couple of reasons why. The Titans' defense is actually really, really good, right? And for me, the soundbite of week 1 is what Brian Callahan said after the game in his post-game presser. If we punted on first and 10 every single time after we had the lead, they were going to win the game, implying that the reason why the Tennessee Titans lost the game was because of Will Levis.
Exactly.
And because this defense was really good, the Bears didn't even have an offensive touchdown, and they still won the game. So that's definitely not on the defense. And Aaron Rodgers and the Jets faced a really good defense in San Francisco, are going to have to face another really good one in Tennessee.
So obviously my quick point to counter to that, like how you countered the Eagles one, is you just literally said it, Will Levis.
All
right, I still expect the Jets defense to quote unquote spook them, like how their former quarterback Zach Wilson would say. I think it was, Sam Darnold.
I'm seeing ghosts.
I'm seeing ghosts, right? But let's move on to players to watch. This is where I kind of alluded to it. I'm looking at the Rams defense as a whole because that overtime defense was atrocious, especially mainly the run defense, obviously. A part of that is the O-line that you alluded to earlier with the Detroit Lions, but there was no reason. Aaron Donald's gone. Someone has to step up eventually, not to the level of Aaron Donald, who was the best defensive player arguably since Lawrence Taylor. In some people's eyes, he might be the greatest defensive player of all time. But yeah, like I'm looking at the Rams defense as a whole. I'll let you go with the defense, then I'll tell you the offense.
My defensive player to look out for is Christian Gonzalez. I believe if Christian Gonzalez was fully healthy last year, I think he would have been the defensive rookie of the year. Right? Last year, before his injury, he held Tyreek Hill to 0 receptions. Tyreek Hill led the league in receiving yards last year.
Yeah.
Right? That's insane. And coming into this year, Jamar Chase struggled against Christian Gonzalez with 3 receptions, and Christian Gonzalez's matchup is going to be against DK Metcalf.
And DK Metcalf struggled against Pat Surtain a little bit.
So Christian Gonzalez is basically going to use Pat Surtain's playbook and try to shut down DK Metcalf again. And if he does that, there'll be 2 straight weeks where he shuts down a premier receiver.
I think in every start he had, he shut down a premier receiver.
It's incredible.
At the very minimum, slow down. I'm not going to, but for sure, like, I would say shut down actually.
It's shut down. It's been shut down.
But let's go on the flip side, on the offensive side of things here. I'm going to say a couple names. I don't know how much you're going to agree to disagree because I don't know what yours are. Number one, we alluded to it earlier, Baker Mayfield. Let's see if week 1 was a blip because it was the Washington Commanders. Number 2, this is the one that caught people's eyes after Kyler Murray's comments. Marvin Harrison Jr., right? He's supposed to be this next big wide receiver coming out. Like since I don't know how long, and I'm not even saying how stacked the previous classes were, but his talent was like, I don't know, since maybe his own dad. I don't know, right? That's how long, like that's how touted he was in Ohio State. To only get 3 targets, 1 reception, 4 yards, and Kyler missed the 1 read on him. Kyler had a good game himself. There were some standards that where he could have been better. So I want to see how much he could be. How much their offensive coordinator will get him involved in plays, and if Kyler could find him.
Yeah, for sure. I expected a lot more from. Honestly, all the rookies did bad, but out of all the ones coming into this week, between Williams, Daniels, Nix, and Marv, I expect Marv to put on the best performance again because the other 3 quarterbacks still going to need time to.
It is contingent on the quarterback / play caller.
Yeah, for sure. But for my offensive players, I also do have a couple. I'm gonna start off with my boy Jonathan Taylor. I expect him to have more than 30 rushing yards. Yes, he did have a touchdown, but that was set up with a pump block, right? He was outplayed by Joe Mixon, and that was pretty disappointing, even though a lot of it did have to do with Colts' run defense as well. So I expect Jonathan Taylor to be more involved, and the Packers' defense weakness is run defense as well. And my second player is going to be Cooper Kupp following a big performance in week 1. Now you're going to have no Puka Nacua for the next 4 weeks. You still have Stafford, and I feel like Cooper Kupp's going to have to turn into that Triple Crown winner, Super Bowl MVP type, and he's healthy enough to do that, and he's proved that in week 1, and I expect him to carry on that performance against the Arizona Cardinals as well. So those are my 2 players that I expect, and I believe that should be good for this week.
Yeah, very quickly, just you mentioned rookies, the rookie quarterbacks, right? We're not going to go too much into it. I'm excited to see the Caleb Williams versus CJ Stroud, who we kind of know, and even the media in general touted to be potentially could follow the CJ Stroud route. So it'll be fun to see the 2 go head to head as well. But that pretty much wraps our week 2 preview as well. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, like this video and hit that subscribe button with hit the bell. Hit the bell so more videos coming out like this. 2 videos are popping up. One of them will be the week 1 overreactions. Make sure you guys click that as well. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.